Hello.
It's because like I reattached the thing and making sure that
Hello. I like money.
hello, I like money.
Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs, why did you build a second Krusty Krab right next to the first? Money.
Hi, my name is Jay Monteiro. My pronouns are they, them. I'm a writer and an artist from the South Shore area, and I graduated UMass Lowell last year with a degree in creative writing. And today I'm going to be reading a couple poems. So the first poem is Untitled, and it goes I possess a fear that the faceless static of non existence will soon be me. I cannot go any further knowing that all I do, even the ideal, will lead me to death's door. Endless memories torment me like the slow, imminent death of summer. My sanity fills the grave while my corpse walks among you. Yet, beautiful or maddening, my words will convey who I was long after I resign. Grand metaphors will succeed me until they too become overused, outdated, and archaic, perishing into the wind, fossilized into the earth. So this is another untitled poem from the same collection. A bouquet of buttercups and baby's breath, buds that blossom and brighten my blood. To the boy whose affection blooms flowers in my chest, a flick of the lighter to burn and forget, to take my breath and give it to death, to trade a trophy, currency, in exchange for crossed hearts, not a word in the world holier than mine. Spice meets wine, the flood of heat and the fall of rain. Sweet and sinful, smoke and mirrors. When the clock finally surpasses the pen, will you still remember me then? All right, this poem is titled Demo. Break down my walls, this is my renovation. Demolition, comfort in each swing of the hammer. The assault on plaster, I am freed, I am faster. I cut loose the cross-stitched X's, the Coraline eyes the contractors use to cover mine. I meet myself in the mirror, we exchange a shared sigh. Cross my heart, I'll never cross you. All right, this is an untitled poem from a larger piece in my memoir discussing the Black Lives Matter protests of 2020. The crystalline clang and clash of chips of crackling, shimmering glass, it rings relentlessly in my head. Replay and remember these words. Riot gear protects those who riot. Fearsome confetti flying into the streets. Beneath our feet it crunches. Like that last bowl of sweetened cereal before that black boy's final walk downtown. Mama picks up his forgotten spoon from the table. She dries her tears and then scoops out her heart.
How do we even like spell the Lowellian in again? Is it two L's, two A's, two I's?
Hello, my name is Masada Jones. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am currently the Senior Manager of Prevention and Education at the Center for Hope and Healing. In my life, I am a poet, community builder, native Lowellian, and I'm out here. So I think I probably wrote my first poem in 7th grade. We had like a poetry unit and I was like, what? I love this stuff. I remember every poem that I wrote was like about northern stars. Never seen them, but I remember that's like what I was introduced with, and I was like, yes, northern lights, all the northern lights. So, and from there I was like, oh, this is a great way to express myself, and I have been writing ever since. So I wrote a lot when I lost my brother, because for me, I felt like I had to choose a different thing. Again, when my brother was killed, I was 19 years old, and I felt so like, I just felt funky. I was like, I'm not feeling like myself. And of course, like I had this huge traumatic experience, and I knew that I had to get back to feeling like myself. So I started performing a lot at Brood Awakening. The open mic had actually just started there. That was 2007. So I started performing at Brood Awakening. And I started to do a lot of walking and participating in community things, because I know I had to choose to be happy, and performing made me happy. I've liked a lot of people. I really like Suhair Ahmad. Grew up reading Nikki Giovanni, Langston Hughes. I don't think I can really emulate any of them. I appreciate them each for their own styles, and I just write about my life. If something happens, it kind of comes to me, and I experience it kind of like in a poem, like, oh, this wild thing happened, and I kind of like remember it and use it in the poem in that way. It's more free verse. I just kind of let things happen. If I'm like doing a challenge or something and it's not coming to me in that way, then maybe it's a haiku, because I'm just trying to like at least write a poem for that day, and it's something. But for the most part, it doesn't matter how short or long, it's usually just like a free write, and that's it. I was performing for a show and they wanted something that was full of hope. So I kind of there's a poem that I'm going to sing, This Little Light of Mine, just because I feel like it's an easy enough tune to get people motivated. They can sing along, and I think sometimes, especially in communities of color, like we need to find hope and light in the smallest of ways. And for me, it's often through song.
Not everyone is able to recognize their own light, be a flame. We have to wake them up. We sing songs of encouragement for them, for those whose light switches don't flick on, for those who have forgotten the power of song. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. We walk like overcome is our middle name. Head high, determination in every step. Sometimes moving forward is not about choice, just an understanding that there is no other place for us to go aside from up, and up we go. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
So the other poem I'm gonna sing is kind of like me trying to find my own beauty and trying to uplift myself.
I want to share with you the most precious possession I own, my mind. See, I now own me, not easily influenced by those who want to keep me down. I now two-step on clouds, kiss the sun in the morning, and at night sing the moon a lullaby. Before I leave for school, I smother God with hugs. I am a goddess. You, at one time, yes, you used strings to tame me. I was so naive, I let you play me, but you were not prepared for me to break free. I am not your zombie. I am very much alive. Nefertiti, the beautiful queen of Egypt, gave me CPR with each compression. She whispered, "Fight it, sister. You've got to fight it. I refuse to lose another one," and so I did.
So the Kinder Project I formed in 2016, and it started because being a native Lowellian, as more Black folks are moving to the area, they often ask me like, where are we at? Like, where are the Black folks out here? And I think that it's hard to really get Black folks to gather outside of church. So I really was trying to, I haven't, again, with this new job that I've been in, I haven't really gathered people in the way that I had been in the past. And I just really felt like it's important for us to get together to show the community that we are here, that you can find us in other places aside from church, and that we are joyous people. Like, we're not just like, oh, just only in church, only believe it, which is a beautiful thing. Going to church, I go to church, it is a beautiful thing. I need to feel uplifted outside of myself quite often. And I also feel like I need to be a whole person, and folks can see me outside of church living and finding joy. And so that was the goal. I'm the Senior Manager of Prevention and Education. And I got involved, actually, I had a TV show here at LTC called Kindred Conversations, Living Black in Lowell. And we had our executive director, Issa Welda-Georges, on, and she was talking about a campaign they were working on, Yes on 3. And it was just like the energy in the space was amazing. Everything that she was talking about sounded amazing. And I wasn't that familiar with the organization. And I got invited to their annual meeting that winter. And I told her when I left, I was like, I'm gonna work here. And then 4 months later, I was there. So we are a sexual assault agency, and we support survivors of sexual assault and their family. We do one-on-one counseling. We do medical advocacy. So if you need to actually go into the hospitals, if we get a call saying that a survivor is there. Legal advocacy if folks want that. We have a number of prevention programming, and I work in the prevention department. So we do most of the community-facing work in regards to educating. We go into the schools, and then we have a Black Girls Rock program, and we have EMAB, which is engaging men and boys as well, understanding that there's intersections across the board, and that everybody has a role to play in ending sexual violence. There are days when Lent and hope are the only items in our pockets. We sing songs of encouragement to each other. Do not get it anywhere else. Know that our hearts have to be fuller than any space that is meant to rest our hands, comprised of litter and pressure pearls, stuffed in cycles and circumstance. We walk like overcome is our middle name, head high, determination in every step. Sometimes moving forward is not about choice, just an understanding that there is no other place for us to go aside from up, and up we go.
I can't figure this out, but you're gonna be watching.
Hello, welcome to the Lowellian show, and this is an interview with Angela Alice, a artist from MCC, and I'm here to give you some of the questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. One of the questions that we're giving as a Lowellian, we are like, what is your connection with Lowell?
Well, I moved here about 9 years ago because I was able to find. Well, let me go back. I was in Miami, and I was getting tired of the heat and the hurricanes. And I went to art school in New York City. So I wanted to be as close to New York as possible and have the seasons and the museums and all the things that we have available up here that in Miami, maybe because it's a younger city, it might not have as much, even though the art scene over there is spectacular. So looking for that, I moved to Lowell with my husband. And it ended up being Lowell because of the Western Avenue studios, because of the artistic community that we found. And then I was able to find a job in Middlesex Community College. So everything kind of settled here in Lowell. Another connection that I have with Lowell that I did not know until moving here, maybe 2 years into my move, was that a lot of Colombians ended up in Lowell because of the mills in the 1960s, because of the textile companies or the textile industry that we have down in Colombia, and how they shared the same machinery, and they were looking for workers, and the way the Colombian found them. So I had no idea that there was such a large Colombian community in Lowell. So I guess that's also part of my connection. I paint with, my underpainting starts with acrylic. I do a lot of my textures with water-based products. Then I finish it, or I evolve it with oils. But I'm getting into encaustic, which is wax, and it's an absolutely wonderful medium. I'm not a 3D artist, even though I do want to explore more of that. Even I have done it in the past, but I definitely want to stretch out and learn more about that, and explore how I can translate my two-dimensional world into a more three-dimensional medium. But I would say oils. Oils are just wonderful.
What type of arts do you make with oil painting?
I do paintings. I'm a surrealist painter, but there's a marriage between surrealism and magic realism in my work.
Oh, why is that?
My magic realism is reality under a magnifying glass. It's like everything is fantastic, it has to be exaggerated, kind of like Latin culture. So Magic realism has been adopted by Colombia. It's known as the magic realism country. Gabriel Garcia Marquez and 100 Years of Solitude kind of like put the stamp on it. I think maybe it's in my blood. I can't get away from it just because of my background and the passion people that we are. And then surrealism is more about working with your subconscious and your dreams. So I think my dreams and my reality merge in my painting.
Oh, that's a nice way to see now. I was curious about it, but now like you mentioned about it, it's very interesting and some viewpoints from you.
Thank you.
What type of artwork do you have work that makes you feel accomplished?
Me, myself, that I
Yes.
have done?
Hmm. I know you have made a lot, but like which one?
Okay, one that stands out in my mind is 2020, the painting 2020, because of what was happening during 2020. Yeah, it's a 30 by 40 piece. It's very complex. It took me over 100 hours to do. I would say is successful, or it makes me feel, what was the word you used? Accomplished, because of the time that I spent on it and the effort and the labor of love that I put on there. So it was a very interesting conversation with the canvas. It was very healing. It was therapeutic. So it served many purposes. I would say that one for me it's one of my better paintings.
Do you have a name for it? You just named it 2020?
2020.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's an interesting title. Can the art of Lowell help connect one community, or it helps unite other different communities altogether?
It should unite other communities. I believe that, and this goes for any kind of artist community or any city with arts, you can't stay in a bubble. Artists have to always be looking to see what is happening outside of your bubble so that you can grow. Otherwise, you get comfortable. It's just like medicine. A doctor can't just learn what he learned or she learned in school, or they learned in school. They always have to be evolving with the times and the technology. I think artists have to do exactly the same thing. Otherwise, they get stuck and comfortable, and then they stop growing. And that's not good
That you're
for
trying
anything.
to be adapted towards others.
Yeah, well, I mean, also it should be, in my case, I believe that art is a mirror, whether the artist is aware of it or not. So as you evolve as a human being, hopefully there is growth, then your art should grow along with you.
Oh, okay.
And the more you do, right, the more you
more.
master, so it should get better too, yeah.
Yeah. How did the pandemic affect your work?
Well, like I mentioned, that painting 2020 has a lot to do with that. I have always been a loner when it comes to producing art. I do it on my own. I close my door. Sometimes I don't even listen to music. I just want to be
In the silent space.
in the silence, yes. I guess because of also the nature of my work with students. There's always me talking or students asking questions, and I need that moment of solitude and stillness. I work with my subconscious, so I need that silence in order to allow the subconscious to come forward. So the pandemic didn't really affect me in that way because I've always been isolated when I paint. The pandemic affected me more in a, how do I say that? I'll use a simple example. You buy a candle that smells really good, and maybe you're always saving it for another time when you want to burn it and use it, because once you burn it, that's it. Now, and I would keep all my candles like that. Now I burn the candles.
Oh.
I burn them because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
So you're like saving up, using that time and grow with it, or like life is.
Yeah, it's short. You never know what's going to happen next, if you're going to be affected or a family. So it was just a metaphor. But yeah, it's like I am going to talk to the person. I am going to tell them I love them. I'm not going to wait until tomorrow I think that's what the pandemic has done for me.
I got it.
And the same thing in the art, in the sense that I've always wanted to do a specific painting. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm not going to wait until I have the time, because you always are waiting to have some sort of time. So I'm just more present in the moment and more willing to just take action.
Hey, I'm Eric Johnson. I'm a co-owner of Lowell Inc., tattoo artist in Lowell since '04. I realized I wanted to become a tattoo artist. I was already tattooing, honestly. I got into it completely by accident. I was the manager of Blockbuster on Plain Street and became friends with a guy that owned a shop. And like we just, we're kind of showing each other's artwork and stuff like that. And he offered me just, hey, do you want to learn how to tattoo? Oh, I'll try it. Like it wasn't something I wanted to do or pursued. It's something I fell into and loved. I have lots of tattoos that I've done of myself. Anything I could reach. Honestly, I've tattooed my arms, I've tattooed my legs. Most of my legs is done by me. I tattooed one on my stomach. Yeah, like I said, when I first got my machines, I went ham. I sat in my bedroom and went nuts on my legs. I have one or two cover-ups, but that's it. I rock even my shitty tattoos. I don't really care. That was part of my development, right? At some point, I feel like even, people get names, stuff like that, and then eventually they get them covered. I honestly feel like they shouldn't. Like, I do it and take the money, but that was important enough to you at the time that you marked your body with it. I feel like it's still a relevant point in your life. Why erase it? There's definitely still stigmas around tattooing. Example, Lowell does the safe trick-or-treat thing, whatever it's actually called, where the stores give out candy and they go around downtown Lowell. They don't come here. We weren't even informed of it. The city doesn't want kids getting candy from a tattoo shop. They just associate a tattoo shop with, the bad crowd. We're going to get the vagrants and the bikers and gang, you know what I mean? So there's definitely still that stigma. As far as people with tattoos, I've been tattooing, like I said, 21 fucking years. I still see someone with a face tattoo and immediately think, there's a piece of shit. It's, and it's my job. I do not have a specific style in tattooing. I was brought up in what's called a street shop. Something walked through the door, you did it. Nowadays, there's a lot of people that, I can only do this, I can only do that. I don't like to pigeonhole myself. I like to be versatile, so you walk through the door and you want something fine line, I can do it. You want something bold and traditional, I can do it. You want a portrait, I can do it, Any requests I won't take. Anything racist, I'm not really. Like, you can come in and ask me for a big fucking Swazi on your chest and tell you to beat it. Other than like the just straight out racist shit, I don't do gang shit. I won't do any of that. And the city of Lowell won't let me tattoo your face. My favorite thing about tattooing, the artwork. I do really love that. The customer, most of the time. I love when I can nerd out with someone. So if I'm tattooing like a horror piece, anime piece, something like anything I can nerd out and get into with my customer, like that's fucking awesome. That's a good day for me. I do not think that any artist could just venture into tattooing. It's a completely different medium. That's like giving someone who only can draw with a pencil a paintbrush and tell them, well, here's a bunch of oils, you have to create something lifelike. They're not going to know how to do that. It's completely different. It's no different than, you couldn't tell me give me a chainsaw and tell me to, you know, go do some ice carving or something like that. I wouldn't know how to do that. It's a different medium's a different medium.